Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Luhtala again. I just wanted to go over some of the answers from the in-class activity we did on annotated bibliographies. If you were not in class or you wanted to just review it, the activity sheet is actually on the Moodle page just right above where you linked on this tutorial. So I just want to go over that handout with you. You were asked to prepare a couple of citations and sort of examine very carefully an annotated bibliography. And here are the answers to some of the questions you were asked on that handout. You needed to review the ProQuest citation here that came out of ProQuest, and we needed to take all the pieces and fill in the annotated bibliography right down here. So let's start with the author name. What's her last name? It's Nair. So that goes right here. Her first name is Cynthia, and her middle name is Cynthia Lambert. That would be the order we would write it in. The article title is Nutrition IQ, 10 Questions to Test Your Knowledge About Healthy Eating. All right. Publication title, Detroit News. Could be the New York Times. Could be Newsweek. The publication day for this article was the 27th of February. You can see that right there. And here's the February, and that was in 2007. And it comes from section E, page 3, and it was accessed on October 2007 on the second day of that month. Please note the order in which the dates are written. All right, let's move on. What is an abstract? This is a review question. We covered this in lesson 10. We're going to cover it again today. Is it a synonym, an extraction, a summary, or a representation? The correct answer is a summary. Now, this is kind of a gift. You get to cite My Pyramid Tracker here, and you have all of the information you need to add My Pyramid Tracker to your annotated bibliography. So all you'll need to do is create the annotation, so long as you got this right. All right, this is a tricky one. The author is the United States. That's a corporate author, and that's a legitimate author. And not only is it the United States, but it's the United States Department of Agriculture. The name of the website is My Pyramid Tracker. Oops, ran into a roadblock there. My Pyramid Tracker. And it was last updated on the 21st of August in 2008. And it comes out of the Center for Nutrition Policy and Promotion. I left the promotion there as a hint to you to help you remember. All right, it was last accessed on the 13th of October 2008. You may have chose to write something different, which would be absolutely fine, since you probably didn't access it on the 13th, which was Columbus Day. And here is the URL. And the URL for a website has to be absolutely complete, all the way to the very last digit or character. Okay, so let's move on. Now, we had you look at citations within an annotated bibliography, and you needed to determine what kind of resource they came from. The Barrett article comes from a magazine. How do we know that? Let's look at the Barrett article, and what is the resource? It's Newsweek. That's a magazine. Burroughs' article comes from a newspaper. And how do we know? It's right here. The New York Times. You get the idea? All right. Smolin, how is it a book, and how do we know that? We're going to take this and we're going to drag it up to the publishing information. That would not be there if it wasn't indicated in the citation that it was a publisher. Plus, there's no URL. And the United States is a website. And how do we know that? It has a URL on the World Wide Web. All right. You were also asked to identify which bibliographic citations identify the library where the resources were accessed. Let's take a look. You can see there's only two, and it's the first two, the Barrett and the Burroughs article. Then we asked, what do these two citations have in common? Well, they're both databases, ProQuest and LexisNexis. So, Barrett and Burroughs, what do they have in common? They're both databases. What can we conclude from that? Well, if you're writing a database citation, you need to include the information about the library where the database was accessed. All right, we were also asked you to take a look at the annotations and to read into them just a little bit so you better understood what an annotation does. In the Merriam-Burroughs article, the viewpoint was on the FDA food labeling that it was ineffective. In the Smolin and Grosvenor article, the qualifications of the authors were that they were researchers who co-authored textbooks on food and nutrition. What's the purpose of the Food and Labeling and Nutrition website? They address the food labeling requirements for foods under the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. And what is the scope of the Newsweek article on allergies? Be sure to refer to what is an annotated bibliography, we reminded you. Scope means, is it short and long or concise or in-depth or comprehensive? So in this example, it specifically said it is short. Here's where it says the Burroughs article is ineffective. And you can see where Smolin and Grosvenor are researchers and co-authors of college-level textbooks. And here it says the FDA food and labeling requirements under the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act and its amendments. And here it says it's short and concise. So you have to be able to cover this kind of information and explain this kind of information in your annotated bibliography. All right, what's due for next time? In your U Drive, you should have your ProQuest articles. You can save them as web archives. Just go to find your article and click File, Save As, and put it in your U Drive. In your My Personal Wellness folder, which is in your Health folder in your U Drive. So bring that, and obviously you should bring hard copies of your articles, just in case you can't access the U Drive for some reason or another. And you must bring a working draft of your annotated bibliography in Word, and it should be in your U Drive on the school network. It should not be on a flash drive. It should not be any hard copy. You need to have a draft of it because you're going to work on it, and we're going to help confer with you to counsel you and move you along into making a correct one. It's due at the end of the period of lesson 12. Thanks very much for listening.